Ever daydreamed about a job where your office changes every week? Maybe even comes with a hot tub.
Okay, maybe not every house sit.
Right. But still, we're diving deep into this career path that's getting more and more popular, professional house sitting. We found a bunch of insights from RoleCatcher, and honestly, it's way more than just remembering to water the plants.
It really is. A lot of people think, oh, peace and quiet, I can just chill. But in reality, you're the one holding down the fort, you know?
Right, like making sure the pipes don't explode or something.
Exactly. Or even those panic calls from the homeowners at 3 in the morning. Oh no, did I leave the stove on?
So basically, you're like a security guard, a therapist, and a maintenance person all in one.
Pretty much.
Where do I sign up?
Right.
Well, almost. RoleCatcher actually breaks down exactly what a house sitter does, and some of it surprised me.
I know, right? People think you just kind of hang out and collect the mail.
Yeah.
But they found that more and more homeowners want someone to handle like everything while they're gone. We're talking plumbing checks, coordinating any repairs, even paying bills in some cases.
Wow. So it's almost like being a temporary property manager.
Yeah.
That's a lot of responsibility. I can see why attention to detail is so important. You'd have to be super on top of things, like noticing a small problem before it turns into a disaster.
Absolutely. And those example profiles RoleCatcher gives. So interesting. There's one from a house sitter who had to deal with a burst pipe while the homeowners were on a cruise.
Oh, no.
Talk about pressure. But they managed to shut off the water, call a plumber, and save the homeowner's antique rug from getting ruined.
Okay, that's impressive. Definitely not just watching the cat.
Yeah.
That actually brings up something I was thinking about, the good and bad of house sitting. It sounds kind of glamorous, flexible schedule, maybe you get to travel,
Right.
but what's the reality check? What do people need to know before they, like, quit their jobs and become professional house sitters?
Because like any job, there are definitely pros and cons.
Yeah.
The flexibility is amazing. You're not stuck in an office. And if you're good with your clients, you can travel and live in some awesome places.
Okay, yeah, that's the dream. But what about the downsides? It seems like it could get lonely, right? Spending all that time in someone else's house.
For sure. That's something to think about. If you're a super social person, it might not be the best fit.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole always on call thing.
Oh, right.
You never know when something might happen.
True. A broken dishwasher, a power outage, who knows?
Right.
It seems like you need to be really independent and adaptable to do this job well.
Definitely. And RoleCatcher actually found that a lot of people don't realize how physically demanding it can be.
Oh.
Like imagine managing a huge property with a pool and a garden and maybe even some pets.
Oh, yeah. You've got to be ready to wrangle some dogs.
Exactly.
So it's more than just watering plants. You might need to problem solve, be resourceful, and probably have a good list of plumbers on speed dial.
For sure. And it's not like you just jump into all that. RoleCatcher actually breaks down the career progression into different stages, which I think is super helpful.
Okay.
You start at entry level, then there's junior, mid-level, and finally senior house sitter. Each one has its own responsibilities and things you need to know.
So there's like a whole career ladder here. You're not just a house sitter forever. Let's break it down, starting with entry level. What kind of things does a brand new house sitter usually do?
At that stage, it's all about proving you're responsible and trustworthy. It's almost like you're on a trust trial with the homeowners.
Okay.
You're mainly monitoring the property, making sure everything is safe and sound, and letting the homeowner know if any problems come up.
So checking the doors and windows, bringing in the mail, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
What I thought was interesting in RoleCatcher's research is how important communication is even at that early stage.
Oh, for sure. They gave this example of an entry-level house sitter who had to deal with a neighbor complaining about the homeowner's dog barking.
Oh, boy.
They had to calm the neighbor down, assure them everything was fine, and figure out how to handle the dog while the homeowner was away.
Wow. Talk about a crash course in diplomacy. So you're not just dealing with the house, you're dealing with the whole neighborhood.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've handled the basics, you've proven you're reliable. What's the next step?
That's where the junior house sitter comes in. Now, you're not just keeping an eye on things. You're often moving into the house while the owner's gone.
So you're living the dream as a junior house sitter,
Right.
crashing in someone's awesome place while they're on vacation.
Yeah.
But I bet the responsibility level goes way up, too. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's not all Netflix and takeout, let me tell you.
Right.
RoleCatcher says at this level, homeowners want more than someone who just knows how to work the TV remote.
Yeah, makes sense.
You're doing regular inspections like checking the plumbing and the appliances, even making sure the garden hasn't been taken over by weeds.
So you need to be kind of handy, or at least know who to call if something goes wrong.
It helps,
Hmm.
but it's more about being resourceful, I'd say.
Hmm.
You're the one who needs to know who to call if the washing machine starts leaking or whatever, and then you're managing those repairs, making sure everything's done right.
Oh, okay. So it's almost like you're the project manager for the house.
Totally.
I get why those organization and communication skills are so important now.
Definitely. And one of RoleCatcher's example profiles for a junior house sitter really shows this. This person created a whole system for managing their house sits.
Wow, really?
Color-coded calendars, spreadsheets of contractors for every situation, you name it.
That's some next level organization right there.
Right.
But I'm also thinking you can't be afraid to get your hands dirty if something goes wrong.
Exactly. You got to be able to think on your feet and solve problems, especially when the homeowner's not there.
Makes sense.
And that problem-solving thing, it just gets more important as you move up that career ladder. Speaking of, you ready to hear about the mid-level house sitter?
Lay it on me. What sets those seasoned pros apart? What are they doing that the juniors aren't quite ready for?
At the mid-level, it's all about being proactive.
Okay.
It's not just reacting to problems, it's thinking ahead and trying to prevent them in the first place. RoleCatcher found that mid-level house sitters are often hired for those more demanding properties or homeowners who have really specific needs.
Okay, so we're talking like houses with complicated security systems or maybe a pool that needs constant care.
Exactly. Or maybe even dealing with super valuable stuff like artwork or antiques.
Definitely a different ballgame than just making sure the plants don't die.
Right. And this is where having some real knowledge about home maintenance is super valuable. The example profile RoleCatcher give, this person had actually flipped houses before.
Wow. No wonder they're a pro house sitter.
Right.
That experience probably comes in handy a lot.
All the time. This person had a network of trusted contractors and could spot a potential problem a mile away. They understood that maintaining a house wasn't just about fixing things. It was about making sure those little issues didn't turn into big, expensive disasters down the line.
So at this level, it's almost like you're a home concierge.
Yeah.
You're taking care of everything.
Pretty much. And that brings us to the top of the house sitting pyramid. The senior house sitter. This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, senior house sitter. That sounds impressive.
Right.
But it's got to be about more than just, like, having a whole keychain full of house keys.
Definitely not.
What does RoleCatcher say makes this level so different?
Well, at this point, you're basically the CEO of house sitting.
Okay.
Think managing multiple properties, sometimes even leading a whole team of house sitters.
Wow.
We're talking maybe even working for like high-profile clients with really specific needs.
So you've gone from checking the mail to running a whole house-sitting empire.
Pretty much.
That's wild. What does RoleCatcher say are the most important skills for someone at that level?
Leadership is huge. At this point, you're not just responsible for your own work. You're guiding other house sitters, making sure they're keeping up the same standards.
Okay, so you're a mentor and a manager. That takes a certain personality type. You need to be organized, great with people, able to handle any crisis that pops up.
Oh, for sure. And remember how we were talking about security being important?
Yeah.
At this level, it's essential. Senior house sitters are often the ones creating those security procedures, especially for really valuable properties.
So it's more than just setting the alarm system, like maybe working with security companies, having a plan for different emergencies, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. This is where all that experience from those lower levels really pays off. Senior house sitters are also the ones doing regular checks of the properties they manage, making sure everything is in tip-top shape.
I bet the homeowners have to really trust these senior house sitters. I mean, they're not just taking care of the house, they're managing other people who are taking care of the house.
It's a big responsibility, for sure. And don't even get me started on the administrative stuff.
Oh, right. There's a whole other side to it.
RoleCatcher found that senior house sitters are often managing budgets, handling schedules for a whole team, sometimes even doing payroll.
It's like running your own little company.
Right.
So for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, this actually sounds like my dream job, but how do I even begin? What does RoleCatcher say about landing that first house sitting gig?
They have a whole section on interview prep that's super helpful. They really emphasize being ready to answer those behavioral questions like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult situation while house sitting. They want to see you can think quickly and handle pressure.
So it's not just saying I'm a hard worker. You need to be ready with real examples.
Exactly.
Did you ever have like a really bad house sitting interview? One that taught you what not to do?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I remember one early in my career. The homeowner spent the entire time asking about my political views, which, hello, completely irrelevant.
Oh, wow.
It was so weird, and I realized afterward I should have just shut that down.
Yeah, good lesson. It reminds you that you're interviewing them too.
Exactly,
You're not just there to take whatever they throw at you.
for sure. And speaking of helpful tools for nailing that interview, RoleCatcher's AI Copilot is amazing.
Oh, yeah, their AI interview practice tool. We have to talk about that. How can that help someone, especially if they get nervous in interviews?
It's like having a personal interview coach right on your phone. You can practice answering difficult questions, even record yourself answering them. And then, get this, the AI gives you feedback
Whoa, Ray.
on everything, like how you're speaking, what you're saying, even your body language.
That's incredible.
Right.
It's like a pep talk and a critique all in one.
Totally. And what's really cool is that it's designed specifically for house sitting.
Oh, okay.
It's not just general interview advice. It's using real questions that homeowners actually ask in interviews.
That makes a huge difference.
Right, so you can walk into that interview feeling prepared and confident.
Which is half the battle.
Exactly.
And then, of course, RoleCatcher has those tools for building a great CV.
Oh, yeah, which is still important.
Oh, definitely.
You want to make a good impression.
Exactly.
And RoleCatcher gives you what you need to do that.
Well, there you have it. We went from the basics of house sitting all the way up to managing a whole team. Who knew it was so involved?
It's a whole career path.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's more than just a job. It's a lifestyle. You get that flexibility, those unique experiences, and you can really make a difference for people.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to think about. What if the typical 9 to 5 just isn't doing it for you? Could house sitting be that key to a more fulfilling, flexible life? One you never even considered? It might be closer than you think?